Okay, Penn State fans, we have a new segment this year for Penn State football. It's the Penn State Breakdown with Adam Breneman. Adam Breneman, the former Penn State tight end, later played at UMass, played very well at UMass. I think he would be in the NFL right now if it wasn't for a knee injury. But we're here to talk Penn State football here with Adam. Welcome into the PennLive studios.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we're gonna do this every week. It should be a lot of fun. We're gonna rely on your expertise. You give us maybe a unique glance into a position or a matchup. So why not start, Adam, with a position you know very well?
It's very easy for me.
The tight end group. First, let's just talk about the guy that Penn State is missing. You mentored him at Penn State, Mike Gesicki. Just your thoughts on why Mike was able to excel the last 2 years at Penn State after a slow start, now a second-round pick of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Mike and his career trajectory, it's really remarkable. You know, him and I were at Penn State at the same time when I was going through injuries. He was going through a struggling sophomore season, I think it was, and
dropsies.
Had a dropsies, and you know, it was tough because that's mentally exhausting for a player. You know, it's catching the football is as much mental as it is physical. You know, but just working with Mike through that, he's such a special player, and we saw him at the combine. I mean, what do you run, a 4.5?
4.54. 4.54.
He told me he was going to run a 4.5. I didn't believe him. But just how much he's such a unique talent, and to see him grow from just a wide receiver coming into Penn State to becoming a true inline tight end. His blocking's gotten a lot better. But he's the kind of guy that you can really put at every position on the field. We saw him play everywhere from fullback to slot receiver to wide receiver to tight end. And it's really it's the combination of how he. I mean, there aren't many guys that can run like he can when you're
or jump
when you're 6'6", 260 pounds. And he's such a special player. I'd make the argument he's probably one of the most athletic tight ends in the NFL right now. And I think he's got a shot to start for the Miami Dolphins. But I've said this before. Penn State can't replace Mike Gesicki. It's not going to happen. You know, who they have now they're all talented, but it's impossible to replace that kind of production. But Mike is really a special player. So it was cool to see him have that much success.
I always felt, Adam, that once he stopped pressing because of the drops, his natural ability took over, and then Joe Moorhead was kind of able to kind of really get that out of him. So good luck to him at Miami. But let's talk about some of the guys that Penn State is trying to work in at the tight end position, and maybe one or two things you like about each one. Let's start with Danny Dalton.
Yeah, Danny Dalton's a guy who I've been having fun kind of following his career a little bit. Obviously hasn't played much yet at Penn State, but really athletic, kind of the same situation as Mike. Came in as a little underweight, as more of a receiving tight end. Very athletic, has great hands. If he can put it together and become the inline every down tight end. When Coach Franklin said one time, if you can't block, you're just a big slow wide receiver. So really for these guys, what it comes down to is who can make plays with the ball in their hands, who can catch the ball. Who can run, and pretty much when you get to that level, everyone can run, everyone can catch the ball. But it's who can be physical at the line of scrimmage. To play in the Big Ten, to play Michigan and Ohio State and block those defensive ends at the point of attack. I think Danny Dalton's got a chance to be that guy if he can become the physical presence that Penn State needs at the line of scrimmage.
Now, I don't know if you saw any of the photographs from PennLive photographer Joe Hermit from August practice, but he's got quite the killer stash.
Yes, I saw that. Yep.
That's kind of developing.
I was at practice a few weeks ago, and I saw it firsthand.
Now, Adam,
it looks even better in person.
Adam, if you're going to grow that kind of stash, you better be able to play very well. Do you agree or no?
Yes, I do. And I think I think that's something I've noticed in Danny is a level of confidence that he didn't have coming in. And it's and that comes with experience and being there and getting used to the system. But I think he has a chance to have a really good season and kind of replace some of that production that we lost with Mike Gesicki.
Sure. Two more guys just to get to real quick. John Holland is a guy that certainly looks the part. I think he's dealt with some injuries at Penn State. What do you see from him? And maybe Adam, what's his ceiling? In other words, if he's healthy this year, what can he do for the Penn State offense?
Yeah, John Holland came in, I think, as a defensive end, if I remember correctly. So he has that physical presence. He's used to being physical. With him, it's kind of a little bit of the opposite of Danny Dalton, I think, is he came in a little bit more as the inline guy and had to work at the receiving part of the game. But I think he's improved a ton there. And from what I've seen, I think Danny and Jonathan have a chance to kind of be a really good 1-2 punch.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, this offense, who knows how much will change with Ricky Ronnie calling plays, but this offense is more of a one tight end offense. It doesn't mean you can't play more than one, but we're going to see one on the field at a time. So I think we'll see a kind of a 1-2 punch with Danny Dalton and Jonathan Holland, and those two guys, I think, really complement each other well. You'd like to have one guy that can do it all, but I guess we'll see how that works out.
Now, it wouldn't be a PennLive Penn State video if I didn't bring up Tommy Stevens at least once. He's kind of the wild card, literally, for the Penn State offense. Spent the spring and summer in a walking boot. He's up to 240 pounds, and he looks every bit of it at 6'5". He can do a lot of things for the Penn State offense. In your mind, how do you think Penn State may use them, and can he play some snaps as kind of a hybrid tight end? Yeah,
I think Tommy, as you said, he's grown physically since he first got there. I actually hosted Tommy on his official visit. What was that, 4 years ago? Probably.
Long time.
Coming from Indiana. And he has gotten so much bigger and stronger, and he's such a remarkable athlete, kind of like Gesicki. Different kinds of athletes, but Tommy's the kind of guy that you got to find a way to get him the ball at least, I think, 4 or 5 touches a game. We saw him make plays last year. We saw him make that run against Iowa, running 4 guys over to get in the end zone.
Sure.
So I think he's a guy. I don't think it's realistic that Tommy Stevens plays tight end. I think he could play some snaps at tight end and get the ball, but he's not an every down tight end. He's a quarterback, and I think he'd be the first one to tell you he's a quarterback.
Right.
But I think Penn State and Ricky Ronnie knows Tommy so well by this point. I think they'll find a way to make sure Tommy touches the ball a few times a game. I think it'll be exciting for the offense. And what the key is, it can't be too predictable. It can't be every time Tommy comes in the game he's getting the ball.
Right.
So I think he'll be able to be used in a wildcat situation as a decoy. Because we saw it last season. If Tommy comes in the game, everyone keys on him.
Right.
So he has a chance to, I think, have a big role, and at that, what they're calling it, the lion position now.
Right.
So I think I'm excited to see Tommy and his progression, and then hopefully see him take over the reins at quarterback next year.
All right, great stuff, Adam. That is it. Penn State opens their season Saturday against Appalachian State, 3:30 at Beaver Stadium. We're going to have Adam Breneman back every week trying to talk about probably the Penn State offense more than the Penn State defense. He's got a unique outlook, having played offense at such a high level. Great to see you again, Adam. That's it for the first edition of the Penn State Breakdown with Adam Breneman here on PennLive.